Right, the LG G Flex 2. Stay tuned for a fanboy free look at this brand new, sleek, curved, fancy flagship device from the guys at LG. This is the successor to the LG G Flex 1. We're going to talk a little bit about what's good, what's bad, and what might actually be ugly about this phone here in this fanboy free review, so stay tuned. Jumping right into the hardware, the first thing you notice about this phone is it is gorgeous. This red back and this sort of subtle banana shape really, really stands out. Everybody asks me about this phone. They say, wow, what kind of phone is that? That thing is really cool. It's really curved. Why is it so curved? What does that do? Why is it like that? And I tell them that it is the G Flex 2 and that it's meant to be curved and that it's meant to sort of fit in your hand nicer and it's meant to sit against your face nicer and it's meant to sit in your pocket against your thigh nicer. And everybody's really wowed by it, and it's really great to be able to say, like, yes, there's diversity in the phone marketplace. It's different than your iPhone, and it's actually really cool, and you should check it out. And I evangelize the need to have an Android phone, and some people get it and some people don't. But the great thing about this phone, first of all, that I really like is just how form-fitting it is and how the G Flex really, really does fit and feel well in your hand. You guys have heard me talk all the time about big phones and how I don't like them and how 5.5 inches is too big, and I agree. I think this is still too big. They've actually downsized this from 6 inches in the original G Flex down to 5.5 inches in the G Flex 2, and I think it's a welcome decrease in size. I think phones should get smaller, or at least have two options like what Apple did. Have the iPhone 6 Plus and the iPhone 6. One's big, one's little. Everybody's happy. G Flex 2 still a bit too big for me. I can't reach everything in here, so it's a little bit more difficult. I have to shuffle the phone around. Luckily, the curve actually makes it fit in my hand a little bit easier, so it is easier to reach certain things in the phone, but it definitely is too big. It's definitely something that I still struggle with. I don't like phones that are too big. I don't want to use two hands. You guys have heard the argument all the time. It's a very big phone. 5.5 inches is big. I have 4.7-inch hands or something like that. No, 7.4-inch hands, I think. Average, basically, maybe just a hair short of average, and this phone is still trouble to use with one hand. LG does offer some sort of tweaks here for one-handed use. You can move the dial pad over on the lock screen and also on the phone dialer, which makes it easy to use with one hand, which is pretty nice. But it still is a trouble to use with one hand. You still have to use it with two hands. Anyway, getting away from that, we're going to jump into what's great about the phone, followed by what's so not great about the phone. First of all, starting with the hardware. The back of this phone is plastic, but it does have this self-healing back on it. What that means is you can actually put some scratches in this phone, maybe rub it on the table or something, and if you get very light scratches, it'll actually heal itself. The plastic will sort of form over those scratches and cover them up, and it actually does work. Deeper scratches will remain in the plastic, but anything that's light actually will stay or will heal over, and you won't end up seeing it. The plastic does actually also have like a bit of a rubberized feel to it almost. It's got like a grip. It doesn't feel thin. Well, it doesn't feel thin like a Samsung phone. It feels a little bit thicker, almost rubbery, but it doesn't have a tacky feel to it. It does feel smooth. Just feels different than any other plastic back phone that I've ever felt before. Feels really great, actually. The fit of the phone in your hand is probably the nicest thing I like about it. LG also has decided to stick with their 3-button layout on the back here with power in the middle, followed by the volume rockers here on the top and bottom. And these can be used as actually quick shortcut keys too, which is sort of a nice feature. 13 megapixel camera is great. Dual LED flash is great. Laser autofocus is also great. This is sort of a gimmick. I think that the laser autofocus thing is just as fast as all the other focusing mechanisms on the market right now, but it does work. It does make it a really great system to have for quick focusing. Speaker on the bottom, not really a fan of that. I much prefer speakers that are on the front, like with Motorola and HTC. Speaker is also sort of not very loud. I've noticed that it's kind of soft, very soft, and so if you're interested in playing loud music out of the speaker, you might want to think about a different phone. Again, the front of the phone, not a whole lot different than everything else you've seen. 5.5-inch slab. They decided to run with a 1080 screen on here, which is nice. They had a 720 screen on a 6-inch phone before in the original G Flex, which is an atrocity in this day and age. You're not going to get very good resolution out of a 6-inch phone running 720p. So the 1080p is really nice to have. Also, talking about the sort of front of the phone, it's basically everything else you've seen from LG. Really high quality display. The colors do look a bit blue to me. They don't look as natural as, say, on the Nexus 5, which is an LG phone, or even on an iPhone. I do like the LCD panel that they used, but it does have sort of a blue cast to it, if you ask me. But again, I'm not talking about using a color measuring device. I'm talking about just to the naked eye. Front of the phone, everything else you've seen, front-facing camera, earpiece here. It is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. It doesn't seem as bad as some of the other phones out on the market right now, but it does keep track of your fingerprints, which is kind of frustrating. So that's a look at the or sort of the overall hardware fit and finish. We're going to jump into the software here in a second. So getting into software real quick, there's a lot of lag in this phone, and it is super frustrating. I mean, we're talking about Android 5, we're talking about 2015, and there's still freaking lag in this phone. There's lag on the lock screen, there's lag on the applications, and like all I want is a lag-free phone, guys. I want something that will work without having lag. I want something that I can, press buttons fast like on an iPhone and have it work really quickly and not have to worry about, oh, I missed the button because the screen didn't register my clicks fast enough. Lag is really, really frustrating and really, really annoying. And this phone has lots of elements of lag, and it's a bummer. It feels like they rushed the software or something to make it so that the lag is there. Hopefully we'll get some software updates that'll fix that. But for right now, laggy phone, really annoying. Apps in this phone are, standard set of apps. It does have a little bit of LG bloatware in it, which is kind of annoying. But, most of that stuff can be either uninstalled or disabled, and you don't really have to worry about it. This version of this phone did come with McAfee, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how to get rid of it. I've hidden it from my system menu or my apps menu here, but I can't actually uninstall the app, and that really frustrates me. I hate having any virus on a phone that I didn't install, especially McAfee. It's annoying and stupid. But anyway, applications do run fast. The battery life in this phone, I would say, is another drawback. I don't think it's great. I think that you're looking at about an average day of use. But that's a little bit of a downside now because you have phones like the iPhone 6 Plus and the Motorola Droid Turbo and the Sony Z3 where you're getting 2 days of battery, out of these devices. And so flagships, I think, especially Android flagships where you have all this competition, it's really a bummer that you have new phones that aren't getting, over a day's worth of battery. And so to be able to have a brand new, flagship device from LG and have it only get 1 day of battery and have it sort of be almost a poor day's worth of battery, I would say, is pretty frustrating. Otherwise, things to talk about with the software, everything else you've seen in Android 5 Lollipop, nothing super, super special. LG does have some tweaks within the settings to sort of, like I said, enhance one-handed mode. They don't have anything that's overwhelmingly sort of feature-rich. The camera, it's a decent camera, I would say. I don't think it's a great camera by any means. I think that, it has its pluses and minuses. I think that the quality is okay. I took a photo here of this random sign and it missed the focus on here and quality is just not that great, and this is outdoors in full sunlight. And so I think, coming from being a sort of, mobile photographer and somebody who likes photography, I think that LG kind of missed the mark here on this phone. I think that they should have done a better job, including a little bit better camera, or if it's not the camera hardware, at least tweaking the software so that it ends up working a little bit nicer. So where does that leave us for sort of an overall opinion of this device? Well, it's kind of a mixed review, in terms of what I like and what I don't like. I mean, the fact that the hardware, and when I say hardware, I mean sort of the build and the finish. I really like red phones, first of all. And the fact that this comes in a really, really cool red color, and it's got a really neat red shine to it. And the build quality and the fit and the finish and the curve is unique. I like that. I like unique design phones. I like things that stand out from the crowd. I really like how, even though this is a big phone, it does tend to fit my hand rather nicely. So there's things about the phone that I actually really like. There's things about the phone that I really don't like. The software is sort of a deal breaker for me. If you're an Android purist and you really like the sort of overall fit and finish of a Nexus phone, in terms of its software, this thing falls flat on its face when you compare it to some of the other devices that are out there, especially the ones from Motorola, and like the Nexus 6. or even the Nexus 5 for that matter from LG. And so I'm really torn when it comes to this device. I want to like it, but I end up not liking it because of the software. I do like the hardware. I don't really like the camera. I don't really like the software. I also don't really like the battery. So overall, I actually don't really like this device, which is unfortunate because I do like the design. And so while I think LG has a winner here with shrinking the size of the G Flex, making it a little bit smaller, making it really, really nice to hold on to, making it fit really well in your hand, making it a really sort of, eye candy, for lack of a better word, for lots of people. They really failed in some of the other areas, and so that's a bummer. So maybe they'll do better on the G Flex 4, or excuse me, the G Flex 3, or even the G4. So we have to look forward to some things in the future. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out everything else I have on YouTube, and rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.